Gentlemen, the pick ban phase has begun. Blue side here for Nova Europe, and it will be the red side for Blue Martini Gaming. As we get ourselves into the beginning, a Lindis ban immediately taken away, followed by the Murad.
That is the Zane text, by the way, if you're not familiar, because Zane, before this, was known for being,
there
my
is
goodness.
The Zane text, both sides of it, the Lindis and the Quillen being taken.
She banned one. I think they banned the Darcy in particular so that they get 2 out of those top 4 here.
And I would agree with that. BM Gaming is great on Darcy, but if they leave that there, it's going to go over to Bamboo. And Elsu being taken out instead, we're watching the last game, clearly rather concerned about Bamboo's Elsu.
Yeah, Bamboo's Elsu, Clamara's Elsu as well.
They lock in the Elsu, which means Darcy.
Sorry, Jump.
Yep, I should have taken the bet again. Gets into the game. Now Vex will get to show off his prowess on that hero for the very first time here. As now Varus is the potential option. Annette is on the table, as well as Baldum, which we have seen go crazy, and of course the Teamy as well.
I've noticed Annette has not really been played that much. We see a lot of Teamies, we see a lot of Baldums. We see Sephora reasonably often, which I do expect Nova Esports to take. But
yeah, they can go Sephora Richter here. That would be extremely powerful.
Tulin instead, though, looks to be the option here for Bamboo in the mid lane. It is going to have to be a favorable hero in that hands of Bamboo, because he is going up against a monster in the mid lane, KZ Fox.
I'm curious, we're seeing a Nacroth coming from Vex, though.
Yeah, we
Darcy.
there.
Darcy's in.
Yeah, we already have
Darcy.
Oh, you're right, my bad.
Yeah, and especially because they're going to be picking the Tulin. It looks like here, if they do lock in the Tulin, that means it's almost certainly going to be Vex on the Darcy in the jungle. There is the remote possibility of shifting Tulin to that side lane, but looks like that's going to be not the case here. And they have a big pick coming out right here. Could be Richter, could be support Sephora. That would give them a lot of magic damage, but they could also decide to show up their support position.
Part of me wonders if we're going to have KZ Fox go on Sephora if Sephora's available. And Baldwin has been picked, so Sephora's still an option. I mean, I don't really expect as much, but it's Teamy as a different type of support.
Sephora is not going to be coming out there for BMG, as beginnings will play onto that Teamy. KZ Fox has plenty of options available for that mid lane. Would not be surprised to see that actually picked up here by him, considering that the next 2 bans by Nova Esports would most certainly be towards that mid lane. Baldum, of course, the soft ban towards beginnings, as that will go into the hands of Grizzly Q. 30 seconds left remaining here on the final pick of the first phase.
I think there are some pros who consider Tulin somewhat of a soft counter to Sephora because he's able to get the damage in and then at the very end throw the Thunderbird. I think it's the exact opposite. I think that Sephora definitely counters Tulin as long as you're able to play it correctly. But they're going to decide to go with a KZ Fox special, and that is the Kali. He is so powerful on that hero when he's able to do that. Oh, just kidding. Spoke too soon.
Swaps over into the Zill now.
Yeah, and that is not KZ Fox, that's for Zane, yeah.
Nope, that is indeed for Zane, so they're going to leave open KZ Fox's potential hero pool and force Nova Esports to focus those bans towards that mid lane, which could open up options for the side lane there for Neo. Omen, banned away by BMG.
BMG does not need to ban Sephora because they know there's no way that Nova picks him. They already have their support, they already have the 2 mages, so they're not going to be picking Sephora. They can leave that open and force Nova to ban it.
And that's also smart, considering that at this point Nova has such a strong lineup. The bans need to be targeted at this point. I love the Omen ban. Considering what's left, I'm actually having a hard time considering what could be banned after this.
I think Nova need to ban the Sephora. I think that it's just way too powerful. There's also some other options here as far as target banning, but I think that trying to play Tulin into that would be just kind of suicide. But instead,
KO's Superman gets taken off the board now.
No?
Oh, and Marja being taken away, so Clamairs can't really have fun.
Clamairs, that actually could have gone to Breaker, which we saw in the last series.
Oh, no.
Now they swap over then to the Talanis as a potential 4th ban away. That will be a target towards Clamairs indeed, as there is plenty of options for him to go with that 80 carry in the side lane. Just as we say that, they're swapping back and forth between the Marja, which again is Breaker's hero that he took away that victory in game number 2. But instead, they say, you know what? Doesn't matter what we think. It's all about the Richter.
Oh, yeah, meta bans.
The thing is, Varus, if she's able to go against an inferior hero in that top lane and just run rampant, that shifts the gravity of the entire map over to that top lane, and it makes it so hard for Nova to run their normal rotations.
I really enjoy seeing that too, because we have seen Varus pop out in almost every single game, and it does feel like you have Omen that helps deal with that, you have Richter that helps deal with that. It's going to be a fairly easy top lane for BMG. I'm curious where Nova's going to go with that. Probably support plus whatever they pick for the side lane up there. Well, Talanis gets banned, stopping KZ Fox from having that as an option, but they still have Kali.
They still have Sephora potentially. They still have a multitude of heroes to their name, and BMG have their pick of the litter.
This is a situation where, of course, they will end up, my assumption, picking that side laner for Neo. Instead, though, they go ahead and lock in the Sephira and keep that as an option for KZ Fox, which means then they now get pick of the litter in the final retaliation for Neo in that side lane.
Exactly, and that's the important part. Even though they know that the opponents won't be picking Sephira here, if they do go for the Sephira, that leaves them the last spot, like you mentioned, to counter with no rebuttal.
So the one thing I'm concerned about is what are they going to do? I almost feel like maybe a Malik, no, not a Malik, but something with that same beef level to help protect the Sephira and the Zill.
Sephira can take care of herself. She is a strong, independent woman. She has that tie to life, but looks like they're going. Yeah, I was gonna say.
No,
they already have a jungle.
They have Zill. They're good.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on right now? I think they just like flashing the Rogue for a second just to show them who's boss.
Just that skin.
Side lane options now available here for Nova Esports. Of course, the Marja, which we saw in that second game with EU versus Latin America, was an option for Darkbreaker. Of course, we still have some side laners available as well, but as it currently stands, Nova Esports with a tough decision, and Jay Jesse talking things through with Clamares and seeing what 80 carries he has as an option.
Yeah, we talk about Jay Jesse a lot as the draft master, but he's being matched here by the coach of BMG, and that is C-Dubs. He is showing his prowess as a drafting coach as well, and this is a very back-and-forth draft.
Malik looks to be the hover here now. Potential for Clamares, which could throw another option there into the top side for Darkbreaker.
Darcy is such a powerful hero that he can take out towers, so I think they're able to go without a marksman and might do that.
Might indeed. Looks like a Ryoma and a Malik are going to get locked in, which means Malik flips up to the top lane. Ryoma sits at the bottom with Clamares, and now the final pick as an option here. Where does Neo want to go, and who does he want to have to oppose that bot side?
I mean, considering that we have Morin available, I mean, they might as well. We've talked up Morin the longest time and did not get banned. So drop that in there, and BM Gaming is going to be comfortable.
This is so interesting to me if they do go for that, and they lock it in. This is terrifying here from BM Gaming because they have the early game in the Varus and that Zill to extend to the late game, and then Sephira and Morin will take over. This is so terrifying from BMG.
More importantly, though, it creates a high damage composition there for BMG. Of course, Teamy and the Varus can brawl a little bit into the front line, and they're not going to have the heavy tanks such as the Malik, such as the Baldum, and in some instances the Ryoma that Nova Esports has at their disposal. The last thoughts there by Jay Jesse as he finds himself walking off stage. C-Dubs as well, giving the last pieces of ints and teams for both of these squads.
I think that BM Gaming has a very strong lineup top to bottom, whereas I feel like it's very top heavy with Nova, especially with Darcy, and that means that Vex needs to carry pretty hard in this game for them to take this game number one.
You can hear the sounds. The load screen is set to begin. Nova Esports versus BMG. Gentlemen, you've seen the cards. Does BMG have it in the bag, or is this a Nova possibility?
I feel like BMG is going to have to really play around Grizzly Q, and to a lesser extent play around Clamares.
Gentlemen, it's about that time. The load screen has been completed. We saw ourselves with a 1-1 split, EU versus LATAM. Now it is time for the Herald, the historic EU versus NA. Nova Esports versus Blue Martini Gaming. Game number 1 starts now.
And this is going to be historic. We already see Blue Martini is very confident. They are going in, and I'm just curious when they're going to start actually making this aggression work. Is it going to be immediate, or are they going to build up a little bit, scout a little bit, poke a little bit, and it looks like the immediate option is the way to go. Breaker immediately attacking and being forced back.
Yeah, he paid for it with that Wailing Blade because he had to use the Flicker, that 120-second cooldown to get out of here. I just got to say, first of all, beginnings in Grizzly Q. The battle is the superiority between these two supports here, but this is the matchup we've been looking for such a long time. They never played in the AIC. They never played in the AWC. They've always talked about who is better, NA or EU, and this is the match to prove it all.
And we're finding already, Beginnings is doing a fine job with the Pooty Boost to make sure Bamboo and Grizzly Q have to fall back, but still the river is in Nova's control.
This is going to be a very important matchup in the bottom lane as well. The Dioma has so much damage to his side in the early game, whereas Morin really lacks in that early game until he can get it going with a couple of items to his side. But Neo playing this fantastically.
And Grizzly Q just about going down. Again, their retreat is required, and their recall means the mid lane is wide open.
Settle down, boys. Oh my goodness. The immediate ban to the mid, and they're almost all taken out.
And Bamboo gets spotted. KZ Fox gets that water wall going. Bamboo manages to dash away. But again, it's just Neo goes down. Revenge, though.
Oh my goodness, there is that first blood. Vex showing that, hey Zayn, you're not the only one who can play Darcy, and he is able to get that first blood using that portal to his advantage, and there's nothing that Neo can do.
At the top, KO and Clemaire's duking it out as KO seems to be winning the lane, but only slightly.
The battle of the lifesteal between these two. Every single cleave that comes out, every second cleave I should say, and every single bloody kiss allows them to heal right back up. They're also both based on lost health, so the lower they get, the more dangerous these two are.
Which the scary part, speaking of which, those Spirit Sentinel allowing some healing coming in onto BMG. That extra sustain will be nice as they set up for another team fight. Looks like a 4v2 or 4v3 on the Dragon. 4v4, Vex rotates in. Beginnings gets out of there. They aren't quite able to help support out, but that doesn't matter. The field comes in. Zayn takes out the Dragon, and Nova is forced out of there. Dragon already going over to BM Gaming. That extra gold, that extra objective is a great trade for the kill.
A little bit of a bungle here from Nova. They had position onto the Dragon, but ceded it away to BM Gaming. In the end, it had to be a defensive portal coming out from Vex to make sure that there was no pressure onto them, and they were able to retreat, but that's the only thing that they have going for them right now.
Indeed, as the top lane is being won by KO. Clemaire's, you mentioned that they get more dangerous as they get weaker, but it's still a matter of Clemaire's forced behind turret.
Well, Clemaire's needs to hit one cleave before he can get the lifesteal on the second one. That is part of his passive. If he doesn't get that first cleave off, then the second one will not lifesteal, so he's got to be careful to make sure to hit those.
On KZ Fox in a 1v2, rather not concerned about it. Zayn rotating in, and a flank is being set up, though it's not going to be happening for the Dragon anytime soon. Breaker comes in to try to deal with this. 3v2 at big beginnings, knocked back into a terrible position, but they seem to be okay. While Prison does, however, find the lockdown. KZ Fox not able to help out. Neo and Beginnings recalling, but that's still going to be KZ Fox and Zayn potentially dying.
Oh, that could have been a kill on the KZ Fox. He was able to land that wild charge there. That flicker from Beginnings was amazing. Flicker behind his team at the last moment. Otherwise, the Thunderbird would have spelled his death. But here comes the push.
KZ Fox again with the wall of water, setting up a little bit of crowd control as Beginnings comes back, but it's just a 4v4, not leading to a fight.
Nova being extremely aggressive here, but they're still down in that gold count. BMG still holding on to that. Vex says, I got a cube, and that means I got this monster. So much damage coming out of that ability.
Even with that, that's not a free thing. Vex is not that far ahead, and indeed Zayn could very well kill them anytime they'd like. As Grizzly Coon and Breaker jumping out of the bushes, trying to take out Zayn, at least forcing them out of position as Breaker takes out Neo, again putting a completely awkward spot. There's no way for BMG to win this fight, and they lose their buff. I
heard KZ Fox, he said, I got it. He got the stage buff away from them. That means they weren't able to steal it. BMG are holding on. They're playing a perfect defensive game. Nova Esports have the early game in their hands if they're able to take these fights, but they can't get the fights because BMG are disengaging perfectly every single time.
Bamboo takes the Dragon. That will help even things out. Still 500 gold difference, but it's dropping down to parity. And the objectives are going great in favor, well, you're going even, but it's starting to get in favor of Nova Esports.
Exactly. Nova doing, again, a great job of being as aggressive as possible. As good as BMG are doing at disengaging from them, the pressure, they might buckle it under it if Nova is able to keep this up.
Well, Zayn is trying to fish for something. KO continuing to push that top lane. Not going to be that useful. I really would like to see KO manage to rotate down and help their team.
Well, the thing is, it's not going well for, it's not, being won by Clemaire's either. It's definitely a tight matchup between those two, neither exactly winning, but Bamboo Bamboo decides to stop for a moment, doesn't commit onto KO over on that mini-map. In the end, BM Gaming still holding to a slight lead, but this is anyone's game at the moment.
Oh, no, KZ Fox, they're under threat on a tower, and that tower will not hold. Getting rid of the minion wave, but that's still last rotation onto bottom. Nova is going to be able to take out Beginnings and Neo if they're not careful.
Exactly, and BMG, they're wise to it. Their communication is on point, which means that Neo and Beg are able to get out of that precarious situation before anything disastrous happens.
Vex fishing for that kill, looking in that bush, wants to get something, but they don't have any major opportunities at the moment. Not for the next 40 seconds. So Dragon pops, but nice! Getting Beginnings out of the bushes with the Dimensional Cube.
Yeah, those three members, though, that could have been very dangerous for Beginnings. Obviously, he does have the being a bro, but you don't want to use it in an unfit situation, maybe like this.
And the ambush comes in, Beginnings being taken very far down. It looks like they managed to pop Beginning a bro, but it's not enough. The Wild Prison stopping the save. Neo not able to help, and this light is KZ Fox coming in as well, but this is just a trickle in, and that is a slaughterhouse.
Beautiful sequence of events there. Grizzly Q preventing the save, like you mentioned, getting that Wild Prison, but there's pressure on top.
The Chimera's going down as bottom tower also starts to fall. KZ Fox able to defend that, but Chimera's unable to hold the top. The top lane tower should be in favor of BM Gaming, but the bottom lane tower goes for Nova. That means they have the Dragon on lock.
Yeah, trade going for both teams, like you mentioned here. The top tower going down, the bottom tower going down here for BM Gaming. But that means that Nova can rotate immediately to the Dragon, and they're going to get that almost for free.
And that is exactly what they do. The one thing going in favor of BM Gaming is we are 2 minutes away from the Dark Slayer, or 1 minute rather, away from the Dark Slayer. So that top lane grab is going to be useful in a minute.
Taking a look at these items, Loki's Curse is finished for both of our mages here. They're looking to go to that Apocalypse next. That means anytime Zane jumps in and provides that auto attack, and after the Tornado, or perhaps even beforehand, he's going to do massive damage. Same thing goes for every single one of Vex Dimensional Walks. Every single time they're able to get onto an opponent, it does massive damage from here on out.
And that's where Zane gets extremely scary. And that's the, Zill.
Vex as well. Yeah, Zill and Darcy, just massive damage coming out from these two mages.
So when we see that coming, we'll see it.
Oh.
We'll see it.
Exact same time. Yeah, they both finished Loki's Curse Apocalypse.
And of course, the things we talked about before, Darcy is able to completely get past the tower damage reduction thanks to that four stack of hits.
Exactly. And not only that, but even if there's no minions, he can still damage it quite a bit. He acts kind of like a pseudo-Violet in that way. He can just walk up, look at the tower, and it goes down.
Well, we'll see whether or not Grizzly Q goes down. Though Vex being the main focus, getting completely managing to flicker away at the last second. The Water Spirit does not get the kill while Grizzly Q and Clemare's able to hold the line. But that is not going to work. Went for the jump, but it did not live up to its expectations.
That was an amazing fight from BMG. KZ Fox went extremely low, but he used his Tidal Life to stay alive. Meanwhile, Vex was solo. He used the portal to get away, but that means his team was in trouble.
And Breaker being completely ganked as well as they try to see if they can find some kind of wave clear in the bottom lane.
Yeah, he wasn't able to extend that push onto the tower here. Bamboo trying to get a Thunderbird off. I don't think he's going to be able to get it off. I think it would be blocked even if he tried to make it happen. But his pressure means the tower goes down.
And that still leaves BM Gaming with a 2K gold lead, but without those towers, there's 2 tier 1 towers that are extremely important around the Dragon that have been dropped. And the Dark Slayer, while it is harder for Nova to hold on to this, they have a much better positioning just for where their players are. And now it's the beginnings in Neo. Can they hold this? Can they take out Vex? And the answer is at least they can survive.
You saw that whenever you go into Dimensional Walk as Darcy, you can't get targeted, which means no one can attack you. So once we saw the offensive flicker from Neo forward, you saw Vex immediately go into his next Dimensional Walk. That means he literally cannot be auto-attacked.
That being said, there is still that Dragon going over to Blue Martini. That pushes their gold lead into almost a 3K range, but that could be enough. Neo and BMG getting torn apart. Neo down, BMG, are you going to survive? Not long enough to save the tower. KZ Fox rotates in, but it does not matter. The tower is lost, and that is all the tier 1 towers pretty much for Nova Esports.
Neo did not know that Breaker was in that bush, comes out with the Wailing Blade, smacks him in his place, and that provided the opportunity for the portal to come in and take him out by Vex. Nova is coming back.
Nova is definitely putting a strong showing down, and those towers, that's the real story here. I mean, we have the Dragons being taken by BM Gaming, but that's really evening things out. The kills are still in favor of Nova, and the towers, though, all about the towers.
Exactly. You look at the gold, and BM Gaming is winning, but if you had to pick which side you want to be on, a player skill aside, you'd want to be on Nova side because they have those towers, because they have the real estate to move around the map.
Still, though, Neo and Grizzly Q duking it out a little bit, but you got to remember, Grizzly Q is a tanky boy, and Bamboo is the real target, which KZ Fox is well aware of.
KZ Fox wanting to put as much poke damage into him as possible, and Bamboo really can't get Nexus to Tephra because of that Tide of Life, so playing it safe. But every time we have a skirmish here, every single time that we have the poke coming out from BM Gaming, it makes it harder and harder for Nova to take a fight.
But that may not matter if Nova manages to get the Abyssal Dragon down here. This is what BMG is setting up for. They're going for it. Bamboo taking some damage, going into the bush for safety, while at the same time KZ Fox forced back. There is Wild Prison double ultimate coming on to BMG, but it's not going to be enough. Clemare's overextending and paying for it.
Oh my goodness, I thought that Nova had the fight. Oh my god, BM Gaming going in for more though.
I don't know, I'm not agreeing with this. His beginnings is being pulled back. We don't see it being a bro being popped, and that is going to be an issue for them. They can't really help out their team anymore.
Way too greedy, they don't have the members.
Grizzly Q and Vex getting very confident. KO still has a lifesteal, but that Abyssal Curse is going to be a major problem.
Oh my goodness. Grizzly Q tried to go for more, but Neo just looked him in the eyes and says, no, thank you, sir. We will talk about this later. That was an amazing fight that I want to talk about. They were going in onto them, and it was a mistake by the side of BMG. They popped Tidal Eye and they're being a bro at the same time, and that means that they got zero value for either of them. The shot comes in, they nearly took him out, but Vex was not there. Players were not in position. It could have been amazing there for Nova, but instead it was BM Gaming that came out on top.
But that is still a good point. BM Gaming is starting to make a few mistakes here. I don't know if they're cracking under pressure, but they're certainly having a difficult time maintaining their strong positioning from before.
It's very understandable. There's so much pressure here. This is the spot at the AWC on the line, and every decision could be your last or could be your best here. And when they try to go over-aggressive, you can see the opportunity there, but it might not happen.
Grizzly Q again taking that hit, but that's fine. They want to take the heat. As long as Bamboo stays alive, it's all good.
Grizzly Q being that frontliner, being that stalwart, making sure he takes all the damage for his team. Great mechanics coming out from both sides. Breaker making sure to leash the dragon so that BMG can't take it for free. But now both teams centering around this range Abyssal Dragon.
I don't like where Beginnings is placed, and neither does Nova. Nova loves how Beginnings is placed, going down immediately, but the Abyssal Dragon still being heavily damaged by BMG. It's going to come down to whoever gets the last hit, and it is going to be Zane again on that Zill, going in from there to Breaker, to Vex. Zane gets killed in response, but that's fine. No, Zane survives?
No,
Zane survives. Holy crap!
He had the dark blessing. He got the dark blessing, which means he was able to get out of there, negate the lethal damage. And throughout the entire fight, KZ Fox was dealing the damage. Along with Zane finishing him up, and Neo coming in from the back, doing so much damage with his cut, just making sure to take members out. And that means they get a 4-4-1.
And that is 2 towers, possibly the high ground as well. It really comes down to Clemares here, with the mid ground being taken as well. This is exactly what BM Gaming needed to secure the win. Stomp comes in, but Clemare misses everything, and that leaves them open for KO and Neo to destroy under tower.
But they're split focus. Oh my goodness, Neo nearly taken out there, but split focus didn't matter because they got both.
And look at this. 2 high ground towers taken for a single enraged Abyssal Dragon. That is what happens in the late game AoV team fights. Grizzly Q Breaker trying to save the day. The rest of BMG getting onto that core. As long as they distract Breaker, or at least Wild Prison and everything, that is going to be enough. Vex being removed.
Oh no.
And dead. The core is open. Breaker cannot save it. Grizzly Q's down. Everyone's down. The team is basically aced. And there comes the minions. And that core is down. Blue Martini Gaming winning game 1.
Conversation and everybody's saying, good job. KZ Fox is in the middle going, guys, I didn't do anything. I don't know why you're shaking my hand. But it doesn't matter. They did the things indeed to secure themselves a Game 1 victory over the European Nova Esports. And it was in a scaling fashion. BMG have not had to play from behind before. However, we've seen them, and the resilience holds true.
They are banging the table behind us, or at least they were, and I can completely understand why. What a banger of a game that was. BM Gaming just holding strong the entire time, and 4v5, they take that fight around the Abyssal Dragon. That was one of the most clutch plays I've ever seen by the entire team. Neo coming through, Zane coming through, KZ Fox coming through, and they were able to make it happen.
It was just Zane hitting that Abyssal at the very end. That was the best steal ever, because it could have gone either way.
He stole the curse too. Not only did he immediately tornadoed on to Vex, and then after that immediately took the Dark Blessing. That was perfect play from him, set up the entire team fight.
I mean, that was, like, imagine that. One team fight turning into a win, because we're seeing here, BMG doing fine on team fights, forcing Nova back from time to time throughout the game. But overall, Nova was putting a lot of pressure on BMG.
Look at Breaker here. Look at Breaker. Boom.
Oh, yeah,
boom,
there it is.
Dead.
Breaker's ambushes were amazing that game, keeping BMG in a very uncomfortable position.
And you also had Vex getting ahead early on that Darcy, of course, 3-0 and 1.
Look, this is a mistake.
At
They
the
didn't have
11
Vex
minute
here.
mark, but this is where the things were difficulty for them.
Yeah, certainly
This
was.
should have been a wipe. This should have been a wipe for Nova. Vex not there, though.
No, that overextension from Clemares definitely put in a very tough position. I
don't
don't
know.
agree with this overextension from BMG, though. If BMG had not done this, then it would have been a much faster win.
Yeah, it was definitely a mistake. I don't think it was an overextension from Clemares, though, but this is the ending fight of the game. Zane able to steal this, and look, goes Tornado on to Vex, and then gets the Dark Blessing afterward.
And
Or
that,
no, excuse me, I was mistaken. How did he stay alive?
oh,
wait,
it flickered away, but other than that, I'm not
Okay,
really
so I'm
sure.
totally mistaken there. Anyway, Zane is a wizard.
No,
That's
they
all
didn't
we
flicker
know.
away. They had punish.
Zane is a wizard. I think that's what we learned here.
Yep.
He's able to defy the mechanics of the game.
Or wait, let's check the item build. No. Nope, just Zane's ability kit.
The end of game number 1. Of course, BMG walks away with that win. KZ Fox saying, I didn't really do much, guys, but 3-0-7,
No, he did
certainly
a
a
lot.
stat line.
The thing is, he didn't think he was doing much, but he's poking the entire time, and that makes a difference in these fights. Every little bit of damage matters. I wouldn't be surprised if he had the most damage on the team because he was constantly throwing out those water spirits and making sure that his team stayed alive with the Tide of Life. And there you see it, second most damage on the team, only to Neo, who was constantly throwing out damage from the back.
I mean, the two of them are doing a great job just maintaining their lanes. I realize, of course, BMG was gradually falling in pressure, but that entire time, it was at cost.
The thing is, KZ Fox and Sephra and Morin are extreme late game heroes. They are so powerful in the late game. The damage starts coming out from Sephra. Same thing goes for Morin. So they just need to stay alive. Yes, Darcy scales very well, but other than that, it wasn't a whole lot here. Early game hero in Tulin, early game hero in Yoma. So BMG had the right strategy, and when they came online, they certainly did come online.
Came like a comeback for crying out loud, but that is where it comes in. I really enjoy just seeing the damage output at the very end. 6 towers in a sweep inside of 30 seconds.
It's not all done yet, though. We've seen Nova EU lose a game and then come back in game number 2. They did that just a couple minutes ago against Latin America, but they are going up against a team that is extremely strong when they do get out ahead in BMG.
Nova EU has gone to every single international competition. If they lose this next game, they are eliminated 100%.
And that is going to be heartbreaking for them. I know how much JJS
That is? You're predicting it?
I mean, okay, to be
That
fair,
would be,
let's
yeah.
think about this for a second, though. It's 1-1, right?
Yeah.
At best, EU gets 1-1. So they have 2 points to work with. If NA takes out Latin America, which, I mean...
Then we bring
it's
out the
kind of a
timer.
favorite.
We bring out the timer.
No, because North America is going to have 4 points and EU is going to have 2.
Well, they hope that LatAm wins 1 against North America, then we bring out the timer.
Well,
that's true. That's true.
Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that, because when you saw the comeback nature of BMG, we actually have that last team fight available here for a replay. D2, talk to us a little bit through this and what allowed BMG to get themselves that victory.
So it really started, they had the 4v5, but they had the positioning. They had all 4 members here, which means that Nova had to go through this particular choke. They had an amazing job just pushing all the damage onto it. Zane had perfect timing onto that punish, and then immediately goes into his tornado. And you see there, he gets the extra auto attack off when he had 3 stacks of that wind onto him. That allowed him to teleport away and get to safety.
And yet again, we find ourselves in a difficult position where the entirety of Nova isn't where they need to be. Grizzly Q joined that fight after it was completely over. That was now 2 team fights in a row. Vex not in the first, Grizzly Q not in the second. BMG knowing when to capitalize on the numbers advantage.
Exactly. They know everything that's going on in the map, and on top of that, they're able to manipulate that team fight in their favor. Even 4v5, they pulled the dragon over to their side. That meant that it was a funnel for all the Nova members. Once they were there, they took advantage.
And I really enjoyed seeing that because we've already seen how much Nova EU is able to manipulate positioning.
Yeah.
So to see some team play at their level when it comes to manipulating positioning,
Or better.
or better, at least at their level, really showed how much that matters.
All right, well, while we get ourselves ready for game number 2, we have giveaway codes available. Of course, open up Arena of Valor on your phone or your Nintendo Switch and put in the codes EU, LATAM, and North America. Available for you. Remember, these are region locked and there's only limited time use. So get your codes cracking and get yourself some cool free stuff. Gentlemen, game number 2 is going to be underway soon. BMG will now find themselves on the blue side. Nova will find themselves on the red. What changes in strategy in the draft now that the sides have swapped?
The shenanigans started right from the first pick, the first ban of the draft, because Nova wasn't interested in banning the meta picks. They were interested in making chaos, and that meant there were so many members of the top picks that got into the pick portion of the draft. I wonder if VM Gaming will follow suit and do the same.
I could see it. They definitely want to get rid of that ball. Well, maybe not the ball so much. Grizzly Q didn't really seem to carry much, but other than paying the Vex tax, they have other options. I mean, you have... Well, let's think about this for a second. Clemares and Darkbreaker are still scary. Bamboo can still get a good Elsu. So we might see meta picks just because they are target bans. Beyond that, though, they are first picks, so they might be able to get that Varus on their side.
All right, BMG on the blue, Nova EU on the red. Nothing different from what we saw for the first one, too. It will be the respect bans. Murad, of course, against Vex. Lindis against Zane. Teamy banned away. Now a decision for Nova.
I love these drafts.
Okay.
Just all the craziness. Go ahead.
Okay, but look at this, though. Teamy's being banned. Beginning to play that last game, they played it fairly well. Grizzly Q, on the other hand, last time I saw them with Teamy, got over-aggressive and kept getting themselves killed. So this is interesting. I feel like Beginnings is going to want to take that Baldum immediately when they get first pick, rather than going for that early Darcy or Zephyr.
Have to take into effect, though, the Darcy and the Elsu. They beat the Darcy the last game. Of course, Varus being the opportunity. Now BMG gets to decide. Darcy for us, or is it Elsu? We saw Zane demolish their opponents, both the Dino Riders and GMB with the Darcy. And they're going to lock it in yet again. They go.
This is just madness. Darcy against Elsu, and not only that, but both sides have extremely capable players that are manning these heroes. If Nova goes for either Bamboo or Clamaris on Elsu, it's going to be devastating, and we're going to see how this plays out.
Well, already coming in here, I mean, Vex still has Nacroth available. That's not going to be until later, likely. Elsu, of course, is an option. But of the high-level ones, you have Sephira, you have the Richter.
Exactly. You have Sephira, you have Richter, you have Elsu, you have
Net, if someone wants to play it again.
Yeah,
well, kind of fallen out of favor.
I think that's the last thing to think about.
I think so
too.
I mean, Sephira would just be pulled instead.
Right, and you can definitely play just Sephira in that support role. I think we've seen Grizzly Q on Sephira more than any other player in the entirety of the Valor series, so that could be a possibility. And even Richter, you could probably see Grizzly Q on Richter in the support role as well.
And there's the Baldum.
Richter and Baldum are taken away, which means Elsu, they're not really caring about Sephira, of course, left on the board. Omen as well. That would be a vast denial there.
Okay, so this is here it is. If they don't pick the Omen right now, it will be banned in the next ban phase. They do not want to lose the top lane that hard. They're saying that we can deal with the Elsu, and for their sake, let's hope they're right.
Well, that will be the one coming out for certain, because obviously if it isn't, then we're getting an Elsu ban, on top of very likely an Nacroth ban. So I'm really curious what's going to happen here, because, like I said, Nacroth is an option for Vex, but the Flash, it looks like, okay, Bamboo's taking their own pick.
So we're getting comfort picks on the first half now. Both teams realizing that the second ban phase, of course, creating detrimental situations with those next set of bans. The Flash, of course, going into the hands of Bamboo, as now we start the second phase. The bans have begun at Nova Esports with the first selection.
I don't agree with this.
Neither do I. I think Nova Esports has put themselves in a really bad position. They don't have any of Vex's options. They are leaving that open. They aren't doing anything to deal with the Elsu, so because the Elsu Nacroth, and that would completely cripple Nova Esports' ability to just kick the legs out from under them.
A net being banned away there by Nova Esports, denying that from Beginnings, as well as the synergy with the Sephira Annette that we saw demolish teams in times past. It does get locked in, and now it will be it's not going to be an Ignis. It won't be an Ignis ban, but
let's not go too quickly here, because Ignis is good against Sephira.
Quillen is going to get locked away though for Vex. Come on, let's think realistic here, D2.
Hey, this is my theory crafting in the back. I get excited about this stuff. Ignis does somewhat counter Sephira. Anyway.
Well, you mentioned you were talking in the back room how Ignis being counter Sephira was something that a lot of other regions are really coming into, but which hasn't really come up in North America or EU regions.
They do have the Flash though, and the good thing for Nova is they can ban whoever they want, because I think that BMG has to ban Elsu. If Elsu gets through this entire drive, I don't know what is right and what's wrong and what's up and what's down anymore.
I mean, if BMG lets Elsu through and wins, then I kind of feel like they know what they're doing.
Ryoma, though, banned away by Nova Esports, not wanting to have to worry about that one in the side lane. Final ban is to be an option. A Cricknack locked in.
All the Vex tax being paid 3 times over.
3 times in a row, Vex gets his melee junglers denied. However, he still has Zephyrus and Nacroth available. Of course, they can hold that, or they can select it early and save their final pick, the final side laner for Nova in that 5th slot.
I can't believe this right now. I can't believe Elsu has made it this far. This is insanity.
I mean, imagine if BMG even gets Elsu off this. Like, if they decide not to go for Elsu, decide just to take that Vex pick early in case they're worried about someone. I don't think expect Zane to take one of those picks.
The thing is, we've seen good Elsu play from Neo, from Clamaris, and from Bamboo so far, so I don't understand why these teams aren't favoring it. It's been amazing. They hit all their snipes, and it has been perfectly great as a pick.
Well, it's clearly a tough call in Irie. Whoa, okay.
So, okay.
Irie, Clamaris loves Irie.
Yeah, so this is a homage back to the old Clamaris that we have seen. Of course, before he played in side lane marksman, he was a vast top and bot lane player, specifically for those melee assassin-style flankers. Irie proving his vow to be such now, as a Rourke and Malik are hovered here by BMG, which would mean that
I think we're gonna see Violet from Nova, by the way, because I think they're going to need a marksman, and they're going to have Vex go for that pick in the end. But
Rourke, marksman and a jungler too.
You know what? They could have. So this situation here for BMG, they could put Zane on the Rourke. They could put KZ Fox on the Darcy and then put Beginnings on the Sephira. That is the flexibility of both Darcy and Sephira, but instead they're going to move away from it.
Now going for the Superman as the top laner. And that, wait, they already have Omen and Superman going in. They're really trying to push the lanes
That
regardless
could
of the
be a
matchups.
Malik mid and a Sephira support.
It very well could be. Whatever they're doing, they don't need marksman, partially because Sephira and Darcy both have empowered auto attacks, which means that they can easily take down towers, not to mention that Omen is very capable of taking down towers himself. So they have the ability, they have all dimensions to their team, even without that marksman on their side.
And Zuka homage. Are we just seeing the homage plays this entire time?
Speaking of no marksman, what is this game? Whew.
Well, we're certainly going to have an interesting time. I feel like this is a hover. And indeed it is. The Nacross being picked. A much more typical play coming in, and that will be Vex.
All right, well, it is going to be a no marksman game for us as BMG and Nova Esports have selected their rosters coming into this. Zane is undefeated on the Darcy thus far here in the Valor Series playoffs. Hoping that keep that true and all but one game away then from clinching themselves a victory and the potential spot in the AWC.
I have to say one final thing here as far as the picks for Nova. If someone gets caught in a dimensional portal, Necroth can use his ultimate to get away. So too can Flash, so too can Irie, and so too can Richter with his Retaliate. So all of these members are able to get out of the clutches of that ultimate, and that is a huge deal because that means that his ultimate is made basically useless in a lot of situations.
I do think Dimensional Walk and Dimensional Cube are going to be the main threats, but I totally agree there.
Nova Esports found themselves in a rough spot in the last series, of course, finding themselves down a game to Latin America, but now they have an opportunity to tie it up against BMG and essentially have to trust their Latin American brothers in arms to defeat them to keep their playoff hopes alive.
And on the other side, if BMG are able to take this game, they are not even in the driver's seat. They own the entire truck on the way to the AWC. They're going to be in an amazing spot going to that last match.
Well, let's see how good their bartender skills are because Blue Martini is going to have to whip up a good one to ensure that they get the 3 points and a clean 2-0 sweep. Our second game of Europe versus North America starts now.
And we get the Jin of that center control, the Vermouth of those jungles being damaged. As we set up BMG taking a pretty early bully on that river.
Well, we do have to confirm what we thought earlier. Like you mentioned, Jump. We have Beginnings on the support. We have Malak in the middle. KZ Fox just showing how versatile he is playing not only mages but Malaks as well.
Mid lane in general, it seems that is their approach. And invades coming in potentially from KZ Fox and Beginnings, trying to take out Vex early. KZ Fox not scared at all, coming in, attacking Grizzly Q immediately, getting damaged by Bamboo in the process, but this is early game, so there's plenty of time to come in here and bully back Grizzly Q.
This is why you put the Malak mid, because he can immediately rotate over to the jungle, immediately put that pressure on, and he's taking 0 damage through all of this.
Oh, Bamboo going rather far forward. They are the flash though, so super speed allows them to escape.
Yeah, Bamboo, he needed to clear the wave somehow, and that's his decision in order to do that. But again, you are playing with fire whenever you go into that Malak.
And Neo coming in, bullying Clemaire's a little bit in the bot lane. I don't really know how Neo is going to be able to pull this up. It looks like primarily BMG's focusing on rotating to center to get those ganks early game.
Yeah, and they do have the power there. Neo very much in trouble though, so he's going to have to be very careful because now Clemaire's can really punish him here, especially ahead of this Abyssal Dragon coming up in 20 seconds.
Yeah, it is worth noting that Superman, despite the myth, is still quite squishy, but there's the Dimensional Portal managing to do its job despite the fact that Bamboo can theoretically escape. They don't have their ultimate. Grizzly Q being caught out as a result and will be first blood.
Oh my goodness, Vex has to get out of there as well. What an amazing fight there from BMG, making sure to scare off Bamboo so they can focus on the next target, and that was Grizzly Q.
So at this point, Grizzly Q already falling behind. We have Zane with a power spike, as with Vex, and it looks like the rest of BMG is very quickly about to reach that point as well, as they're going to be taking the Dragon with very little contest. Clemaire's looks like they at least know it's there, but they are not contesting it.
Well, Clemaire's did a very good job of leasing that Dragon, making sure that BMG couldn't go on it. And in fact, he delayed so long that now BMG are doing the opposite and leasing it themselves so that no one can take it while Zane goes back to his jungle.
Well, they still have another 50 seconds or so before that comes around before Zane's able to actually help with that Dragon. So it's going to be a tricky setup. But right now, Invade's coming in the jungle as Beginnings and KZ Fox try to find some way of denying as much gold as possible.
Bamboo, see if he can steal it out. And
Yeah, doing a bit of threaten, but it's not much.
I don't think it went. I think it went to KZ Fox. I'm not quite sure there. But every time that Bamboo goes in with that super speed, he can get damage on the way back.
First questions with this. Neo coming in to try to wipe out the dragon, but has not managed to steal. Vex takes it. Grizzly Q is still the one taking the most damage, but it doesn't matter. Nova has taken the dragon for free.
Great recognition by Nova, realizing that Zane was on the opposite side of the map.
And Neo being taken out for nothing.
Wow, great play. Oh my goodness, Zayd says you're not going to get a kill unless I get one back in response. Zayd killing one all by his lonesome. I will take this dance, thank you very much.
KZ Fox over going against Grizzly Q. There's that wild prison, just allow Grizzly Q to get out of there. Opening up the bottom tower, and that is of course a very important objective.
Yeah, Grizzly Q trying to open up that lane for Clamaras in order to take that, especially because they knew that Malik had to rotate over from that mid lane. Didn't result in the tower, but definitely is something that you need to look out for going forward because they can easily take towers that way.
We are seeing a rotation going back to the center, though. Looks like Beginning's trying to set up something. They're starting it, but they're not going to finish it.
Looking at the items here, we have the Loki's Curse picked up for Darcy, for Zane, which means that all of his auto attacks are going to be hitting so much harder going forward. While over on Vex, he is the original Necroth Master. He has his Soul Reaver. He's going to be doing lots of damage from now on that he has that item.
Speaking of which, we didn't really talk about scaling for this in terms of win conditions, D2.
Well, neither side has a marksman, but that doesn't matter for KO.
As KO being pushed away from the top tower.
He's dead.
Breaker going down to the tower, though. Not able to move out of there, which...
Yeah, death embraced indeed. You are stuck in death, my friend, and you are not going to be able to get out.
That is the power of the Omen. But wait a sec.
The thing is, Nova is continuously putting pressure on to BM Gaming here. They're getting extremely low, but BM Gaming are expertly able to get out with their lives, or maybe fortunately being able to get out with their lives. But that has resulted in a lead for BM Gaming, but if Nova can keep up with this pressure, eventually they're going to get something done.
And there's that coming in there. The Wild Prison stopping Neo from doing much to save the tower as this layer lane tower is taken down, and that puts Nova Esports at the first tower taken down.
Yeah, very well done there. It was all a ploy in order to get the tower, and get the tower they did. That means they have the map advantage. Even though they're down in gold, they're still in a great spot.
Looks like Zane is trying to set up for that dragon, though. KZ Fox and Neo just bullying away Vex and Bamboo. While Zane and Beginning set up for the dragon, they should be able to take it out reasonably quickly. Zane, of course, is still playing Darcy. They may not have as much of a dimensional portal to work with for the enemies that can get rid of the dragon. While at the same time, the Shock coming in to try to take out KZ Fox, but it's not enough. Grizzly Q coming in to help save the day, while Clamaras is pushing everyone else back to finish that fight, at least evening things out. But overall, Nova just can't get kills.
Breaker, can this tower go down?
It looks like Breaker is trying to save the day there. Clamaras, however, is not going to matter. And Bamboo, with that Cyclone, they're the ones able to defend the day. But it's not going to be enough. And Breaker and Clamaras forced back. Vex looks like they want blood regardless. That may be the cost of their life.
Bamboo got caught out right as he was about to super speed back. He was pulled away. I believe it was the Death Beckett there by KO. He was snapped right back into reality and was just taken out there by BM Gaming.
And KO, once again going against Breaker. We've already seen how well KO can just death embrace Breaker to rip them into shreds. But it may not even matter. BM Gaming already had 1,500 gold
exactly.
and 3 kills.
All of a sudden, you look up at the score screen, and all of a sudden, they're up nearly that 2,000 gold, like you mentioned. BM Gaming doing a masterful job of out-rotating Nova Esports.
I mean, it's worth noting, in the previous game, it felt like BM Gaming was playing entirely defensive, and now they're pushing as hard as they can. Grizzly Q taking all the damage. Grizzly Q is going to go down. Baron, oh no, that Wild Prison of the Fairy, and Neo able to take them out regardless.
Yeah, Dwex tried to capitalize on that Wild Prison, but he couldn't do much. I don't think Bamboo can do it either.
Cycloning, managing to pull the BMG away, saving their own life, but opening up the tower.
Bamboo trying to make things happen for his team, able to clear the waves so they don't lose the tower. That's a big deal. Clamaras.
Never mind, though. Clamaras taking that bottom tower completely uncontested. KO rotating around to deal with them, but it's too late. The high ground top is vulnerable, and top lane or bottom lane rather in general is completely open.
Top lane as well. Look at Darkbreaker. They're playing the macro game. They're going for the towers now. This is the Clamaras that we know and love when he was on Team Existence, constantly making things happen for his team. He is the master Irie player and showing it right now.
Of course, it may come down to this team fight. Bamboo is being taken down, and they don't really have a whole lot to work with. They are going to the Cyclone. They go completely wide on the Cyclone as Breaker goes down. Bamboo and Clamaras are completely separated, being taken out for nothing. That opens with the Dragon, which Zane is taken immediately while Vex is unable to have their team to help out. We've already talked about the Vex attacks. We've talked about how much damage they can do, but if they don't have a team around them and aren't out-farmed, they are not going to win, and that's exactly what we saw.
That was such a massive shot coming out from KZ Fox, and down in the bottom of the fight, it was KO taking on 2 at the same time. Nearly got taken out, but in the end, his team came to save him, and saved he was. And they were able to take the advantage because of the fact that they're outplaying in those team fights.
And look at how far ahead Zane's bill is, too. Like,
It's ridiculous.
And they're just about to the point where they can wipe out anyone for free with a 5.7k gold.
Right, and the thing is, you look at the side of Nova, who has the gold is Clemaris. Yes, he can do a lot, but he is not Vex. They need to have the gold on the right members. They have the gold on the right members here for Zane, for Darcy. He has that Loki's Curse. He has the Enchanted Cooks. He has the Apocalypse. He is building towards more damage, probably going to be the heck of his item, doing massive damage every single time. He
And
looks
Breaker
at
being
them.
taken out by that exact massive damage we're talking about to mention the portal for the kill.
Oh my, it is devastating here from Zane. So much damage, just looks at them, just uses that dimensional walk, and he chunks them like it is nothing.
And at the same time, KZ Fox bullying everyone away from the Darkslayer so that the rest of BMG can take it. While at the same time, bottom side, we have Neo just removing a tower from the field.
Is this the end of Nova Esports EU? Is this the end of their reign? Is this the end of them going to the AWC every single championship? Is BM Gaming going to end their run? They are on a massive streak here. They have 6,000 gold lead right now, and they have the Darkslayer, and they could be pushing right now.
It's certainly on a tear, but I feel like Nova Esports does have one chance. One good team fight. Deny the Dark Blessing. Deny the Drake. If they can do that, then there is the possibility, but it's going to be tough.
Breaker.
We're seeing Breaker completely caught out in the open.
Oh.
This should be a kill. There's nothing to save him.
No.
Then the Drake should be popped. This
Bottom
tower
lane.
is done. The bottom lane is the only risk, and we already see Clemaris doing everything they can to distract Neo, but Neo does not care. They built up. They're no longer the squishy boy they were in the past.
Oh my
and
God.
that is leading to rotation, to a flank, to Bamboo being torn to pieces, trying to just get out of dodge.
Oh my goodness, Vex!
Vex, what are you doing? Going for the Michael, not managing to get at the Abyssal Dragon, also
Yo,
being taken out of BMG. Bamboo does not manage to hit on the Cyclone, but the Wild Prison does catch it. What is going on there? The Dragon being Wild Prison, that keeps them available, but only for BMG as the rest of Nova is forced to retreat.
It does not matter. The Abyssal Dragon is not enraged. BMG do not care. They want blood. They want these towers. They want the core.
And they are super excited. You might be able to hear that there are mics in the back. And because why shouldn't they be taking on the mid tier 2 tower, mid high ground tower being the next point of contest? But at the same time, Zane just deciding, let's go for that dragon. It's just gotten enraged. It's going to be a complete wipe if they manage to take that out. And it looks like Zane doesn't even care.
Yeah, members of Nova coming back here. Vex and Bamboo are back to fight. They can potentially hold this, even down 9,000 gold. And I think that Zane should have maybe perhaps stayed onto the tower, but they are taking out members instead. Vex, look at him. He's so low. Will he go down?
And indeed they will. Neo takes them out. And at the same time, Bamboo trying to protect the rest of their team, but only managing to hit Zane with no impact from there. That is going to mean a mid-ground tower goes down to a shock, while at the same time, the rest of the team forced into the fountain. Bottom high ground tower also going down. That leaves only the top high ground tower and no one to defend them. The 5v3 is being set up, and Grizzly Q goes in to tank out. Clemaris trying to deal with damage they can, but it's not enough. They are the only one available. Breaker desperately stopping the minions. They managed to stop the first minion wave. The Drake is gone, but it's a matter of time. As soon as the mid minion wave comes in, that is going to be it. The core will be focused. This is where it ends, as Nova Esports is knocked out and Blue Martini Gaming moves on to very likely take the AWC Championship. It's all of Latin America, whether or not they do, but they are in a great spot to go there.